All right, today we're looking at something huge, Bristol's Temple Quarter. I mean, this is one of the biggest urban regeneration projects happening anywhere in Europe right now. The idea? To build a whole new city within a city, right on top of what you might call forgotten land. So let's break down what's really going on here.
To really get a grip on where Temple Quarter is headed, you've got to look back at where it's been. For decades, this whole area was basically the industrial engine of the city. Think about it. A massive network of railways, warehouses. It was the real economic heart of Bristol.
But over time, that heart, well, it quieted down. And if you go there today, that same patch of land is just a sea of cranes and scaffolding. It's this huge, bold statement, It's signaling a completely new chapter for the city. So, the big question is, how do we get from that powerhouse to, well, this?
Okay, so the story really kicks off with a decline. We're going to look at how this bustling, humming industrial zone slowly turned into an empty, underused space. And, crucially, why that very emptiness created this incredible opportunity for something new.
So if you look at the timeline, the journey is pretty stark, right? Back in the 19th century, this place was absolutely thriving. But then, as heavy industry started to fade away, the land just fell into disuse. Fast forward to the early 2000s, and it gets this official label, a brownfield site, which is basically a technical way of saying it was derelict, but, and this is the key part, absolutely packed with potential.
And that's something new, that potential. Well, that brings us right to the main event, the Grand Regeneration Plan. This is the massive, ambitious vision that's supposed to bring this whole area roaring back to life.
So what is this Temple Quarter project really, when you boil it down? Well, it's all about taking that underused, forgotten land and turning it into a vibrant, modern neighborhood. The key phrase you'll hear over and over is mixed use. And that's super important. It means it's not just going to be a bunch of office buildings or a block of apartments. The whole point is to weave together the places people live, work, and connect, all in one spot. And look, the numbers they're talking about here are just staggering. Get this. The project is aiming to create 22,000 new jobs. So you can see this is way more than just a facelift. It's designed to be a brand new economic engine for the whole region. And it's not just about work. Alongside all those jobs, the plan calls for 10,000 new homes. I mean, that's a direct shot at tackling the huge demand for housing in a city like Bristol that's growing so fast. The goal is to build a real community, right there in the heart of the city.
But here's a really crucial point. This job creation isn't random. It's super targeted. The whole idea is to attract businesses in the exact sectors where Bristol is already a powerhouse. Tech, finance, and the creative industries. So it's all about building on what's already strong to make Bristol an even bigger hub for innovation.
Okay, but this whole thing isn't just about building bigger, it's about building smarter. And that, right there, is where sustainability comes into the picture. It's not an afterthought, it's right at the very core of the whole design.
So, how are they doing that? Well, the blueprint for sustainability here really boils down to three big ideas. First up, all the new buildings are going to be super energy efficient. Then second, they're going to weave in all these new green public spaces, parks, pedestrian areas, that kind of thing. And finally, number three, they're really prioritizing sustainable transport. We're talking improved walking and cycling routes and better public transit to make it super easy to get around without needing a car. And the piece that connects this all together? It's the redevelopment of Temple Mead Station. And honestly, it is impossible to overstate how important this part is. It's the central hub. A modern, upgraded station is literally the key that unlocks this entire project. It's what will connect this new quarter not just to the rest of Bristol, but to London, to Cardiff, and everywhere else.
But of course, a project this huge is never, ever simple. With all this immense opportunity, you also get some really significant challenges. And it's absolutely essential that we look at the difficult questions that a development like this brings up.
And this slide, right here, really gets to the heart of the whole debate. You see, for every incredible promise, there's a matching concern on the other side. So you have the promise of new housing, but that immediately raises the question, will it be affordable? You have the goal of massive economic growth, but that sparks real fears about gentrification and pushing out existing communities. Even creating beautiful new public spaces can sometimes mean losing the character of what was already there.
Yeah, and the hurdles don't stop there. Think about it, a transformation like this needs a huge amount of money invested over many, many years. That makes it really vulnerable to, economic downturns or changes in government. And maybe the most important question of all is about who really benefits from all this. Are those 22,000 new high-tech jobs actually going to be accessible to everyone who lives locally? Or is there a risk of creating a skills gap that just leaves people behind?
So after all that, what's the big picture? What's the main takeaway? Really, the Temple Quarters project is this fascinating case study of a challenge that pretty much every modern city is facing right now. It's all about that tricky balancing act, the balancing act of growth.
One analysis I saw put it perfectly. It said the project shows how large-scale regeneration can totally transform underused land. But at the same time, it raises these critical questions about affordability and inclusion. In other words, it's a perfect example of what's possible, but it also forces us to ask a really tough question. Who exactly gets to be a part of that shiny new future?
And that, ultimately, leaves us with this one big question. And it's not just a question for Bristol, it's the central challenge for cities all over the world. As we get better and better at designing these incredible futuristic urban spaces, how do we make sure that this progress actually serves everyone? How do we build the cities of tomorrow without leaving people behind? That really is the defining question for all of us in the 21st century.